I wanted to share with you the most challenging thing from my spiritual journey. And I think this is something that a lot of people that have had a spiritual awakening will be able to relate to. And that is being awake in a world that's still asleep. It's like being Neo in the Matrix, where you get red pilled. You wake up to the truth of what we really are, how reality really works. And it completely shifts your perception towards reality, towards life. And that's what makes it hard to connect with people that haven't had, those realizations. And so it can cause you to feel isolated and disconnected. And so that's really a normal part of having a spiritual awakening. Now, the cool thing is that there is a mass awakening underway on this planet right now, which means there are more and more people waking up every day. And it's kind of like a snowball effect. It's going to keep going. It's going to, more and more people are going to trigger these awakenings. So there will come a time where we won't feel so alone or disconnected. I haven't found any like-minded spiritual people in my physical reality, but I have found, people online. I've made heaps of connections with people in other countries, which is really cool. But it's not quite the same thing, right? Like, you still want to have, people in your physical reality that you can connect with. And I also find, I do have friends that aren't awake and aware that I'll go and, visit, hang out with, but it's like you can't have those sort of conversations you want to have, those deep conversations. It's sort of like you got to keep things a bit more surface level. However, I still do talk to my friends about spirituality sort of stuff, and they do listen out of respect, but they still don't quite grasp what I'm saying because they just haven't had that awakening. And you can't force people to awaken either. That's the hard part, is you wake up and you're trying to wake up other people because you just want people to understand what you understand. And it's like, the analogy is you imagine someone's asleep in their bed and you're going in, going, wake up, shaking them, wake up, wake up, wake up. You're only going to get a negative response out of them. They're going to tell you to fuck off, basically. Leave me alone, I'm sleeping, get out. You're not going to get a positive response waking someone up like that. So it's the same idea. You trying to wake people up to understand this, you're most likely just going to get a negative response. You can't force people to have these awakenings. And so, it can leave you feeling disconnected. However, I wanted to give, this video a positive spin. So embracing solitude is a very important part of the spiritual journey. Learning to enjoy your own company. Now, if you were constantly socializing with people, you have, these like-minded spiritual friends, and if you're constantly in the external environment, socializing and hanging out with people, you don't spiritually grow. In order to spiritually grow, you need that solitude, you need that time alone. And that's why being isolated is actually really important. It's pretty common for people to have a spiritual awakening and go into the hermit phase, where they spend a lot of time with themselves. So solitude is great for, turning inwards, doing the inner work, the shadow work, and being able to heal your wounds and level yourself up as a person. It's also really important to have that time alone to go inwards and make that connection to your higher self, to the higher power, strengthening your intuition, getting yourself more in tune and aligned. You can't do that if you're just constantly distracted by the external environment. So embrace solitude, even if you feel isolated and disconnected at times. And if you do, that's okay. You're allowed to feel that way as well. sit with those emotions if you're feeling lonely and isolated. You don't have to be happy all the time, you know. So embrace that solitude, realize it's very important for your spiritual journey, and also be open to one day attracting in your soul family. I, allow myself to stay open to that, but not being attached to it. Like, I don't have it on a pedestal. I'm not making it important. Like, I really need to find like-minded people. I just, I'm open to it, but I'm not super attached. I kind of feel like, because I'm building a spiritual-based business, obviously, posting YouTube videos, I feel like I'm going to meet like-minded people through my business. And you may not be building a business like me. You might be like, okay, well, that's great for you, Laura, but how am I going to meet like-minded spiritual people? I would suggest looking for, spiritual events in your area and just start turning up to spiritual events. And then you'll start, meeting like-minded people and being able to make those connections and, have friends that are aligned with you and, someone you can connect with. So I just wanted to put that out there because I do know it's like a very common thing to feel, alone and disconnected. It's almost like you're that sober person in a bar full of drunk people living in completely different worlds. But remember, the solitude is a very, very important part of your spiritual journey. So if you got value out of this video, or if this video, uplifted you, inspired you, let me know by smashing the like button or write a comment. And if you like this sort of content, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification. Hope you have an awesome day. Peace.